Hello, my name's Joseph. You're watching the My Cross, His Grace podcast radio. Family, I'd like to begin this very short talk this evening by first referencing a passage from the book of Mark. It's chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Family, I feel that anyone in a position of being able to share information in these current times, or any time for that matter, should be able to do so, and to do so quickly. During the American Revolution, there was a system in place to inform the colonist from one colony to the next what was going on. News alerts, dispatches, troop movements, this kind of thing. It was called the Committees of Correspondence. They would write a paper and information, put it on horse and rider, and send the information out. That's a system that still works, but we have to be mindful that even a platform such as what you're watching me on right now could itself go down because of infrastructure, cyber attack, or anything like that, where we are without communication for any period of time. So I'd like to take the benefit of that thinking and share some information that's developed since the last episode. I want to mention first that the Biden administration in the last couple of days had actually sent out a notice to the banks for them not to turn down loan applications submitted by illegal aliens. That's almost unheard of and crazy in itself. Think about that an illegal alien applying for a loan should have the loan approved because the federal direction is do not reject the loan. Banks don't want to write bad paper. They don't want to call in loans that aren't being paid back. But that's exactly the fear of giving a loan to an illegal alien. They're illegal to start with. So you could question or say that just giving them the loan is illegal. It's malfeasance. It's not in the best interest of the bank or the American people. The FDIC doesn't have enough money to recover those kinds of losses. And what about your own money that might be on account there? Could that be taken from you to pay the debt of a loan that wasn't good in the first place? I would hope not, but it's a serious threat to the American economy. That's just a point of reference because it's also a clever way to fund an army that may already be here. Give them the money from the bank so they can go out and do whatever it is they want to do or are being organized to do. That's a serious threat, and it's something that we have to pay more attention to. On the military front, there is a lot of military activity going on in and around the Middle East. Excuse me. And what I mean by that is to say that the number of C-17 cargo aircraft that is flying is staggering and highly unusual. It's an airlift operation of sorts. It's involving many countries that are helping out with this, and it could move troops in and out. It could more likely be the case of taking evacuees out in a involuntary relocation of people from one place to another. In the humanitarian sense, moving people out of Israel to a safer area during hostilities does not by itself seem to be a bad idea. And if that's what's going on, there's an incredible effort underway right now to do exactly that. The C-17s are stacking up. They're going into the Jerusalem area and flying routes to friendly countries nearby. Ultimately, like Crete, for example. But ultimately, they could eventually be relocated to here. One of the other interesting things that's going on in the last few days as well has been that the requirement to have a visa from Israel to the United States has been waived, meaning anybody in Israel who wants to come to the United States can without a visa. That's a new development and something to be concerned about. The other thing to be concerned about is if we're relocating people from Israel, say, to the United States, we would hope the very best for them. But I would hope also that, knowing that we have relocated many Muslims into the United States over the years to places like Michigan, Ohio, and the Dakotas, that we don't want to purposely put people from one hot area into another area that could become hot so that they could have their own civil war right here in our country. That might be a stretch, but it's a very real concern. We have to give voice to it, and you need to know about it. So be aware, because that is an activity that's currently in progress. The U.S. Navy currently has been moving assets into the Mediterranean in a very big way. It's almost like the reconstitution of the Persian Gulf Yacht Club, except it's in the Mediterranean this time during the Iraq War. So what we have is, we already know that the USS Gerald Ford was steaming to that location, if not already there. It's since been joined up by the USS Eisenhower. Additionally, the USS Normandy is in position in the Mediterranean. Joining it also will be the USS Thomas Hudner and the USS Carney. Also, the USS Roosevelt will also join them. That's a lot of U.S. Navy assets. We also have submarine spotters along the coastal United States observing for threats to our mainland and other areas as well. The Air Force is also assisting in all of this. Aside from the C-17s, there is R-35, which by itself is a pretty neat aircraft. It could track a soccer ball from 300 miles away, an incredible asset. F-15s, F-16s, A-10, the typical vehicles that would be used in any aviation assault in a wartime battle plan. That reference I mentioned earlier about the question on Google, will I be drafted and will there be a World War III? We don't know the answer to that, but I'll tell you this much. The people that could be called up to active duty from reserve components will be called up to age 55. After they've exhausted that very short supply of people, the next move that would naturally be made is actually to activate a draft. You heard it here first. We are very short on military personnel, recruitment, and everything else. So the whole reason for selective service and having people register for the draft is to call them when they're needed. And if they're taking people up to age 55, they have no choice but to institute a draft. After that, if they're not getting the numbers, or they already know they're not going to have the numbers that they need for a war effort, not only in the Middle East, but wherever else in the world things could happen. Remember, we have fought wars in multiple theaters in our history before. That's all we have for this report here this evening. Thank you for listening to me. You've been watching Joseph here with the My Cross, His Grace podcast radio. Thank you.